Awesome.
We all good there, Jake.
You happy? I can just put it on there. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Mm.
Cool, guys, we'll go. Jake. Nathan.
Firstly, congratulations for winning, Jake. Jake, just talk us through, really just give us your brief summary of this performance today. And then do you feel that you perhaps missed the goal kicker today?
Yeah, we did. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, that was always one of the risks you take, and thought David kicked quite well in the time that he had to kick, but it's very different when you picked as the goal kicker. And we saw what happened at the end there. I mean, Clayton misses that kick, they win the game. So kicking was obviously hell of important for both teams. But yeah, I mean, I sort of wrote down in my book during the game, it's also difficult when you move a guy like Willie to 10 and expect everything just to click, And then Stormers were never going to go away. I mean, every time if I think about that game and you say, what are your thoughts? I would say it was almost like we got out of jail, but we put ourselves there so many times that it was our own mistake. So if you think about it, we score and then we knock the kick off, and then we get a turnover in our half by defending well, and then we don't find touch and we run in front of the ball. We give 3 points or 7 points because they scored from that. So, but, I just said to the media guy now that these derbies, that's what it's all about. People will talk about this derby for a long, long time. And 58,000 people or whatever it was today sold out, last kick of the game. So I'm very, very proud that this North-South derby will, it wasn't a classic. It's not like there'll be coaching tips out of that game for people, but the fact that people will see it as a North-South derby, and it felt a bit like a test. I mean, literally till the last play of the game could have gone the other way. So yeah, I'm very, very, very happy that we got a win, and we also got a bonus point win as well, because that helps us with away wins.
You forgot the Philly. I mean,
yeah.
Briefly, how do you play activity?
Yeah, at times good. At times he looked like he was a fullback trying to slot in at 10, but that's why I think it's unfair for me to go, it'd be unfair for me to go, listen, he was bad or good, because I always knew there was going to be good and bad in the fixture, and the Stormers were always going to ask questions that no other team would ask us anyway.
Just taking your side, you must be really happy with the scrums. I mean, Vocalo was very powerful, and then your line speed on defense, you sort of shut down the Stormers. So that probably those two things maybe why you the game.
Yeah, well, the scrum definitely. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, And the interesting thing was, I mean, I'm sure you guys won't be aware of this, but when we got a yellow card, if we'd had a scrum there, we would have had to play with 13 men. And so it actually worked out also, like I said, we got out of jail because there wasn't a scrum in that 10 minutes, which meant we would have had to take someone off. And you can imagine playing the Stormers with 13 men when they're chasing the game and they had to run from their own half makes it so much more difficult. So I was very, I mean, as I said, making my notes, I was very fortunate that they didn't take a scrum at any stage, because, it was even like that try they scored. I thought it might have been a knock-on, but I wasn't too sure if I wanted to get the knock-on, because it meant that we would have to go and scrum there, which means I'd have to take someone off, So, but you're right. I mean, scrum-wise, I think Wilco and Gerard have shown now they're probably one of the strongest scrumming props in the competition.
Just last one, Cameron Hanekom, he was a really outstanding today.
From the
ball carry is very direct, physical, hard.
Yeah, and especially from the first kickoff. I mean, look at that. That's like a statement. Everyone knows he can carry. Everyone knows how good he is. And if you reminded me a bit of Nick Koster when he was at Bishops, everyone spoke about Nick Koster. And when Rondebosch played them, he caught the ball from the kickoff and ran through everybody. And that just shows, it's a sign of a good player, because people know he can do it. People expect him to do it, and he still does it. So there were things that obviously he tries to do a little bit too much sometimes, but that's what happens when you're young.
So that's you mentioned that now. It seemed to me that you guys are a bit more hungry, just a little bit more of the edge.
Yeah, well, I don't know about hungry. I mean, I did talk to him before the game, and I said, when there's full house at a stadium and you want to be remembered as one of the best players, you've got to play well in those big games. And that's the challenge everyone has. Let's be fair. I mean, any player who's ever done anything in rugby is the guy that plays the best in the biggest games. And that was the challenge I gave the group, is how good will we be in a full house in Cape Town? How good will you be individually, and how good will you be as a team? And if I'm critical, there were individual times where we looked really good, and there were times individually we looked poor, and there were times as a team we looked like we were in control, and there looked like times we looked like we were out of control. You know, I wrote in my book as well there, about 10 minutes of madness before half time. It was like incredible. We get a turnover, then Cobus Wiese passes, and there's no Willie there, and then the ball goes along the ground, he kicks it, doesn't go out, they get a penalty because we're in front of the ball. From that, they get 7 points. I mean, that we just had to slow it down, get a bit of composure, get a bit of control, kick the ball out. I mean, the Stormers lineout was under pressure as well, to be fair. So we didn't even have to keep the ball in. We needed to get the ball off the field at that stage. So, but, you know, people always say that, Ashrak, they said, are you more hungry and all that? I think what happens is from the kickoff, when Cameron does get through, everyone feels, I mean, even the supporters would have felt, here we go, here we go. And I would imagine that for about those 4 or 5 minutes of the first bit, they never touched the ball, the Stormers. So, you know, that try came within 2-3 minutes, and it was a team try. So, you know, it was, I wouldn't say hungrier, but sometimes you need that flow to start well, especially away from home.
The mention of line is, you guys dominated, also obviously in the lineouts. So that last year we know gone over.
Yeah.
You know, you would have seen sitting here.
No, I would have been upset. I probably would have been asked if I'm going to lose my job. And yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, that's the margins, guys. I mean, I would have been honest with you. If we lost that game because he kicked that kick over, I wouldn't be happy. I mean, I would really be unhappy because we found a way to lose that game. Even Schalk Burger just said to me, you know, can you try any harder to lose a game? And he's right. I mean, we tried everything we could to actually lose that game. And the fact that we got out of it, we won, is going to be fantastic. But Monday's video session, we'll have to talk about that. We're going to have to be a little bit more composed and controlled. Yeah, because I mean, we as I said, we look at times when we in our half, like we're rushing it too much.
Brilliant win. That's coming down here and getting the 5 points. That 5 points is pretty crucial if you look at the URC table and how you're gaining on Glasgow. Yeah. You spoke about that composure now. This last stretch coming up now. So yes. About composure.
Well, the nice thing is we're going to be at home. I mean, this is about the 9th game. I think we've played 2 home games. So we played 7 away games, or if I might be wrong, but we've only played 2 home games. And that says a lot. If you can be near the top of the table with 2 home games, you put yourself in a good position. But I don't want you to think, therefore, I'm saying that when we play at home, we'll win, because it doesn't work like that either. You know, you're still going to have to play well against those teams. But if you had said to me after Currie Cup, having gone through the Currie Cup with some players, and you had said to me in the first couple of rounds, having a draw like we did where we played 7 away games, I would have said to you, listen, if I could get to be 3rd, 2nd on the log, whatever we are now, or the top of the log in the playoffs by the back end of that first 7 weeks, I would have said to you, fine. So, but one of the things I've also said to the players is we want to be our best when the last 3 weeks of the competition comes. Best in terms of understanding how we want to play, best in terms of conditioning, best in terms of selection, because we know that, I said it in the media conference the other day, guys, no team that's finished top has won this competition since we've participated, and no team that's finished top has hosted the final. I mean, that's quite a stat, you know. So Stormers hosted 2 finals, they never finished top. We hosted a final, we never finished top. So you got to make sure that when you get to the last 3 games of the comp, that everyone's fit, everyone's switched on, everyone's learned from these lessons. And we might have to play a big team away from home and win the tournament. And situations like today, 50 whatever thousand in front of a crowd from Cape Town, it can only be a benefit for us. The more the Bulls players experience this, the more the Bulls players feel that pressure, the more the Bulls players are exposed to this, the better it's going to be. So I said it on the field to the Cape Town people, fantastic. I mean, I really think it's unbelievable that you guys fill your stadium. It just shows how important rugby is, and also it's a compliment to the Bulls, because when we came down here, and if you say the Bulls Stormers game is the big fixture, well then, you know, at least I know we're doing something right.
And then you have to look at it and box smart now as well in terms of that challenge cup that you have to navigate.
Yeah,
trying to.
but I think we'll go from week to week. I can't think that we can't. I mean, that is it changes all the time. What I meant by that is we win. I mean, think about this. We beat the top 16 round and the Lions win. We got to fly home to play the Lions and then fly back again. So how would I know until that game is finished what's going to be happening? And so part of that planning is there's no use me planning. We'll win and then we'll tour and we'll play those guys because it can change literally from the moment we win. I'll give you an example, and the Lions win. That whole planning is the other way around. You've got to fly back. That means, and I'm going to give you an example, how many players do I go if we on tour, if we have 5 weeks, and how many players would I take if we went for 1 week? So, I can only control that once we get closer to the time.
Just your thoughts, sorry, on three of the guys that's probably or Sergio that played in on a trophy here.
Yeah.
And then Clayton and Cameron.
Yeah.
If I have to look at the 3 guys that's good.
3 boys from Western Province. So our recruiting agent must have done a hell of a job. But yeah, I mean, as I said, the recruiting. Yeah, thanks, Josh. I mean, we know. I mean, enough. It's no secret, guys. The Western Cape schools are very strong in rugby, and it will always be a feeding ground for provinces. I mean, it's never changed. I mean, guys who played for Northern Transvaal in the old days also went to school in Paarl, or also went to school in Cape Town. So. I'm going to single them out, but I'm saying it is the way it is. There's players that are playing here. I think Ruben van Heerden was at Office. So, I mean, it's just the nature of where we are in professional sport now. But, I'm very thankful that those guys are playing for us. They're playing well. And the guy like Sergio, I use an example, don't underestimate the value he brings because he's won this competition. And he will show that at training, and he will show that when he's on the field, and he will show that when he's in the chamber. So that's why the Stormers are so difficult to beat, guys. I mean, there are a lot of guys in there that have won this competition, a lot of guys in the change room that have been in finals twice. I mean, there's some guys who've won World Cup. So you can package that together. It's not an easy ride to fly here. You are Sale Sharks. They came here and got 40 points.
So how crucial was
Yeah. Well, it was one of those games where, I mean, what about when Jan Hendrik intercepted? If he didn't fall over, we probably would have scored. And then there was the other one where Sebastian de Klerk made a line break. I'm almost sure that if he had chipped the ball over the top there, that it would have been a foot race, and who knows, we could have scored. But, I mean, there's so many ifs and buts. I mean, they miss a kick, as in Clayton misses a kick. Yuri misses a few kicks. David misses a kick. Maybe we should have gone for the corner there. It's easy in hindsight. We go to the corner there and we score a try, then maybe it's game over. So there were moments. I think that's what people will talk about this game for a long time, is that there were moments where it looked like we were going to win. And I'm saying, and not even 50-50, we were going to win. And then all of a sudden there were times that everyone thought, well, the Stormers are going to win this game. So. And that's what you want. And that's what you want. Not as a coach, because you get old, but as a supporter, you want to be able to watch a game like that and go, geez, that's great entertainment.
Jake, just in terms of your planning and prep for the Stormers, we clearly see the kicking game, you guys are kicking it in behind them, Caden coming nicely through. Were you happy with that execution in the first win?
Yeah, I think that one of the things I'm going to answer this by saying, I don't want us to be so rigid that we only kick like that. When Emmy kicked it out on the halfway line, the Stormers lost the line out. And from that, we actually put them under pressure again. So that's part of what I want the Bulls to understand, is there are times where you can kick it out on the halfway line and you can win the line out. You don't have to keep it in field and put yourself under pressure for multi-phase defense. And so I was happy, but I would like to, think as the game's flowing, I'm writing down, could we have kicked it out? Shouldn't we maybe the rhythm of, like, I'll give you an example. That game, when Cobus passed the ball to Willie and Willie picked it up and he was stuck in his 22 and he kicked the ball and didn't go out. If he had kicked that ball out 90 degrees out in the 22, we were probably better off. Because what happened was everyone was in front of the ball and it was a penalty, and then they came and tapped it quickly and we ended up defending for 5 minutes on our try line. Now, I mean, that is what I'm saying. So if I say keep the ball in and defend, then players literally do that for 80 minutes.
Obviously, with the kicking game, slapping it back, the ball bounces a different way, like you said, you
Yes.
guys are on the defense.
Well, I mean, think about it. That one kick we went for poles, we missed it. And when I looked again, we were on our trial line. I mean, that's incredible. You know, I mean, it was, and because what happened was we missed the kick. Then you drop kicked and Cameron dropped the ball.
Yeah.
So it went from sort of 3 points, it went to a scrum, your ball in just outside our 22. Now, that's why I said to you guys that I found today's game. If you ask me for a summary, we got out of jail, but geez, we made sure we got into jail many times that we didn't have to. That's basically it. We put ourselves in jail, and then we're surprised that we got out at the end there, which any sportsman will tell you is that's positive, because the narrative is very different if you don't get out of jail.
Cameron Hanekom, we all see is very physical. We see the way he's playing. How is he in terms of adapting, quick learning, coming to this level? Because you can be physical and you can be very explosive, but in terms of IQ, reading the play, getting on the right, and for you as a coach,
Yeah.
coaching, you can just give us a summary.
No, well, I think the one thing Cameron has better than anyone around is he has feel. He pops up in the right places. He you know, I mean, everyone knows he can carry and everyone knows he's physical. And the other thing which he has, which other loose forwards don't have in his position, is he can jump in the lineup.
And this last one, Billy on 10, suddenly now it's a revelation, but when you backtrack, Paul was Poland Cheetahs, that was basically his base.
Correct.
Just in terms of what he's bringing, the calmness, because there was times when he was in two minds, but he's still playable out the back.
Yeah.
Just a luxury for you having a guy like that.
I'm not sure I want to leave him there, because he's making me bloody old, you know. he wants to throw passes and all that. So, but I also got to trust him that he has a feel for what his skill set is. And the reason I also moved him to fly off, guys, I think it's important that you understand, is I didn't have a captain. I lost Ruan Nokia and I lost Ulrich Low. And I thought if he plays fullback, he's just too far. And I needed him a bit closer. And it, you know, did it work? There were times that it worked. There was a time there where he wanted the ball and then he didn't want it. So he just stood there and let the ball bounce between him. Now, I mean, again, I'm going to ask him, if you want it, you must take it. You can't only have it when you want it, you know. But, I mean, that is, as I said to you, I mean, he's always a 10. So the more he plays there, you know, I'm sure if I move him around, it's not always going to be easy. Sometimes needs to settle into that 10 berth.
Guys, hold on. Can we just have last questions, please? Because we're going to be here all day, really. Ashbak is desperate. I speak to check my phone. No, it's on airplane mode because I'm recording. So, yeah, I can't talk to him. So, hold on. We'll go with Nathan, go with Ashbak, and then we're done. Gavin, did you have a question?
I was going to ask.
Okay, Nathan and Ashbak, and then that's it. Yeah.
Jake, yesterday, I don't know if you were being sarcastic regarding you being delayed with the flights, and I don't. Were you taking a dig at FISFF perhaps?
No, I was promoting them, because everyone in Cape Town asked me, why are you late? Why are you late? And I said to you guys, don't forget, we fly with SAF that sponsored the box, and their phrase is, we never get you late. We're the most on-time airline. So I'm saying to you, I mean, you know, interesting thing, we might have left late, but we got you on time. And I couldn't understand why you guys kept asking me. I thought maybe it was a media thing, that you guys were having a dig at my media, because the media session had probably been a different time. But I know, I mean, Fly Safair, they're fantastic for us. We got you on time. We got 5 points. I mean, what more do I want, Nathan?
Flying. Yeah.
Jack, I know you mentioned that it was sort of lucky escape because of the conversion, but I actually felt that the guys were a bit more focused than in previous games here in terms of sticking to how you want to play and actually playing like you normally do. Because I felt in previous games sometimes you go out of play, you know, the occasion yesterday. I don't think that got them as much today as previous times.
Yeah, although I do think there were times when it did go off plan, it went completely off plan. So that's the one thing. I would think that collectively, yes, but when it did go off plan, we look like a schoolboy side, you know. But yeah, Ashfaq, I mean, it is difficult. Yeah, I think you guys, everything happens. You get asked why you delayed from the airport, and that doesn't happen anywhere else in the world where I land and they say, well, you delayed, you know. And everything here, the whole vibe is different. And I applaud you guys, because you obviously as media are very, very passionate about your team, and you're very passionate about the fact that you'll make it as difficult for every opposition team and coach that comes here. And you'll ask questions that are always going to be those sort of questions. But I will say to you, I'm going to enjoy tonight, guys. You know, sometimes you wait a long time for some things to turn. And, you know, I spoke to Andries. They couldn't beat the Bulls for a long time when he was here. And when they beat the Bulls, that cycle changed. And so who knows, maybe 7 is my lucky number.
Yeah, Gavin, and then that's it, guys.
Yeah, sorry, Jake, just remembered, you've had, like all the South African teams, you've had your injury problems.
Sheesh.
What was the situation with Cobus?
To be fair, Gav, it's his ankle. Now, what that means is, you know, it can be from he twisted it to someone stood on his foot to whatever. I mean, so I can't tell you, you know. I mean, I'm hoping it's the worst of whatever, but I mean, he had to come off because his ankle was obviously swollen and he said he couldn't run on it. So hopefully, as I said, it's a grade 3 or whatever, and it's not that serious. But I mean, I think it's also important as journalists for me to say to you, geez, guys, this is a tough competition. And I mean, when every week you get a update from every team on these injuries, playing 12 months of the year, it's coming at a cost. It's coming at a hell of a cost, you know.
The previous press conference, yeah. Do you think it's sustainable?
Well, it's not sustainable. I mean, I mean, you work it by, we work on the basis we lose 1.5 players every game. Now, when I say 1.5, I'm talking about, because one might be a 2-week injury or HR injury. Or so you can work on the basis. One is out for a while and the other one might be HR and he's out for a week or 2 because of the 12-day mandatory time off. And you know, if you have a squad of 55 and you're playing 12 months of the year, you do your own sums. If every team has 1.5 guys off, it just adds up. So, you know, I know you're going to ask me what's the solution. I'm not sure, but it does as a coach. You know, every week you've got to package, you know, you've got to package it differently because of your travel. And that's why I said to you earlier, you know, how many guys do you take over there? If you lose 1.5 per game and you're away for 5 weeks, I mean, it's you need to train. And I think that's the other thing people don't understand is when you go overseas for a month, you need to train. So you can't take 27 guys. Because the training you have for 27 is very different to when you have 45 guys training in Belleville and they're competing against each other. Yeah. All right.
Cool. Thanks so much, Jake.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
See you on the first of March.